Hello, everyone, and thanks for joining us on this episode of the Pave It Forward Podcast, the weekend edition. My name is Phil Metzger, and with me is Kevin Gray, and we're here to help leaders in the paving industry who are looking to run more efficiently, meet their ideal customer, and improve the lives of those around them through meaningful work. Kevin, how are we today?
Good, man. It's like you said, it's a Sunday. I've been getting some stuff down around the house. We just got back from Lowe's. It's an exciting weekend.
It's a big
might
day.
try and get in the pool here in a bit. It's pretty hot out, so
Yeah, that's
I
right.
I see you're there on the beaches of Colorado, so that's
Absolutely. The beaches they're wonderful these days. It actually is a little bit like Florida. It's been kind of crazy for about the last 2 or 3 weeks now. Every evening between like 4 and 7, it gets cloudy. It rains a little bit, which is
Yep.
great. It cools it off. We're still in the 90s, but it's been strange. Last year there was just a ton of rain and hailstorms. The 3 years before that, it was just basically desert type weather. I mean, all the grass was pretty much burnt by mid to late June and just all the way through
Crazy.
September. So it's been a different year. But yeah, for this episode, we've put our work in on the podcast. It's time to go a little bit more casual.
Yeah.
And so yeah, it's nice also talking with you kind of on Sunday just to get the chill vibe going. But we're going to be talking about a
I
hot
like it, man.
hot topic.
Maybe this will become something like Sunday tank top edition.
I dig it. I dig it. Yeah, I don't know what I'll do here in the winter. Yeah, maybe we'll get a cup of hot. Anywho, it's a long way from winter. We got a lot of asphalt paving to cover.
That's right.
And yeah, so it really is throughout the whole country now. It's burning hot. It's been getting hotter in past years. It's even been I'm sure you've noticed. I mean, obviously you're standing on how hot's the asphalt coming out of there? Out of the
I
hopper?
I mean, if
Being on
depending
top of
on travel time it's usually 300 degrees plus or minus, 325 coming out of the plant. So just however long when it's 100 degrees outside, I mean, those trucks can travel quite a ways and even sit on site for a period of time. And that stuff really doesn't cool down because it's got such a heat, so much heat going on in the core of that load. So, even when it gets to the job site, it's still can be in the low 300s, high, 280s, 290s. So dude, when you get on these big parking lots, when you're just say you got a 500-600 ton parking lot, 1,000-ton parking lot, you're literally just out there. If you're on the paver or, raking on a roller, whatever, you're just in that literal heat island of that warmth all day long. So it really adds to the temperature.
Oh yeah, I'm a little bit proud that I've melted a few boot soles in my
You've been
day
out there in it, man.
on asphalt
Yeah.
paving sites. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
been and I mean especially in Kentucky and I'm sure anywhere south of that, especially once you get around the panhandle and things like that. You're not just talking about the heat, you're talking about the humidity and then the
Yeah.
humidity from the asphalt as well. I mean, that's not just pure heat. You're also getting that steam off of it as well. And
Yep.
so it's like you're in a sauna, only maybe with zero clouds, 100% UV exposure. And so we
Yeah,
kind of
dude.
finished up the last episode talking about the foreman, and please go back and check out that episode. It's been getting a great response, and we'll definitely kind of take some keys and cues from the people who've listened and given us feedback. But we did talk about the safety on the work site, and perhaps this is one of the biggest dangers, one of the biggest deterrents from good people keeping jobs. It just gets really hot out there, and it can wear you down and quickly. So we thought we would kind of go over some of the signs, over some of the stories, the warnings, some of the protections you can do, and even if it's not the sexiest of subjects, it is something that can really keep you safe. And like I even saw some things in here about the correct SPF to use to even start beginning effective. I didn't know that, so I think it'll be a good reminder and hopefully a good conversation between us to really see what it takes to keep your people healthy out there in the sun. When you think of this topic, Kevin, what first comes to your mind as far as keeping people safe out there when it comes to heat?
Man, it's a lot of goes into, unfortunately, it goes into people's kind of personal habits and how they take care of themselves and what they do in their time away from work. And uh, look, we're in an industry, blue collar no matter what. I mean, you got a lot of guys that like to, have a few cold beers after work and maybe party a little bit on the weekends, and that's all well and good. But I mean, it when it gets to be and it looks like it's hot across the country, and I mean, we're used to working in 90-degree temperature, 100-degree temperature. Um, but when you're not, rehydrating at night, getting enough sleep, doing the things to kind of take care of yourself when you're not at work, those things can really start to creep up on you. So that's something proactively that folks can do, uh, while they're away from the job in order to just kind of, keep themselves healthy. Because the way I see it, man, when you're in a high demand, high physically demanding profession like we are, it's no real difference than being a professional athlete or someone that has to condition their body to be able to go out and perform. So it's you just got to take care of yourself, and
Yeah.
I'm not saying you got to be in phenomenal shape and be hitting the gym and running hundreds of miles and be at the athletic level that these professional athletes are at, but this season is long. It is a grind. It does get hot, and you got to be in some kind of shape to get through it. So it's nothing to be taken lightly, that's for sure.
Yeah, and even though it's, we're talking more even about the long term of someone's life. Obviously professional athletes are preparing for something that is maybe 8 to 10 years of their life if they're lucky. But,
Yeah.
especially if you're going to be in this industry long term, to just at least give yourself a foundation of health, because my grandfather and father owned a pool company when my dad was young. And so they would be out in the sun all day, and he's had 3 to 5 different surgeries just on his face, and I know there's plenty of other spaces for the skin
Yeah, man.
aspect of thing. And so I mean, there's quite a few different ways to handle this, but I think the first really is that hydration piece. I know even when I was there, I had to remind myself, look, if you're gonna drink Monsters, man, like at least try to drink 2 waters for every Monster that you have,
Yeah.
because when you're jumping out of the hotel bed, or when we were all taking on those big projects and we decided to stay off site. And I mean, I'm more of a coffee man in the morning now, but then it was grab your Monster, grab the 3 on the gas station on the way there, grab your pack of cigs, get out there as fast as you can, and sometimes even we'll figure out water when we get there. Maybe the boss will have it. So um,
Yeah. Yeah.
so yeah, it's
That's
very
true,
key.
man.
And I've also seen you go through some strategies with hydration as far as where to put the cooler and stuff, just to even encourage people to drink. So what are some things you can do on the site to keep your people hydrated?
Yeah, and I mean, I'm glad you brought that up too, because I mentioned that in a story the other morning. We had an early start, and now that we're getting into the meat potato kind of part of the season, the grind, if you will, where it's dried out. You see people starting at 3, 4, 5 in the morning, or having to do jobs till 9, 10, 11 o'clock at night. And a lot, you get on those big projects. Sometimes you're pulling 16 to 20 hour shifts. Even sometimes you're grabbing 2 or 3 hours of sleep, potentially in a hotel room if you're out of, away an hour or two away from home base or whatever, and you're right back at it. So it's easy to be consuming those monsters or caffeine or whatever and getting out there and not being mindful that, oh man, I haven't even rehydrated from the day we just went through, and I'm right back into putting crap in my body, starting on the next day. So that's something we've always done. We've always a well, I'll say A for hydration, but B, it's a deterrent from a lot, those gas as you drink a big gulp there from Speedway.
That's right.
Uh, those gas station stops, man, can really start setting your days of production back if you got guys or crews, trucks full of guys stopping every morning to for what should be a 5 to 7 minute stop, they turn into 15, 20, 30 sometimes. So we've always provided waters. We provide Gatorades. We do provide Red Bulls. I mean, we do need some caffeine out there sometimes, and really just try to get a variety of hydration out there provided for the crews, so they don't even have to think about it. We'll even ask guys take a vote, what's everybody like, and we'll even get some of their special, if it's a Diet Mountain Dew or a Big Red down here in the South, whatever. So we try to keep that stuff on lockdown to where we've got stuff to drink all day long, all night long if we need to, whatever. And like you said, we'll have a cooler on the paver, and we'll have a ground cooler as well, and we'll have a couple of the ground guys like, hey, keep moving this along with us
Hmm.
as we move down the parking lot or the job site, or whatever it may be. We keep it handy.
Do
So
you still keep the cooler on the paver?
I do. Yeah,
Yeah, all right.
absolutely.
Because that's been, that's a tough one though, because sometimes you need room to operate, sometimes someone needs to jump on there. You may need to keep that available sometimes, but
Yeah,
that's good.
I've had a small cat cooler that was gifted to me by my cat rep. I don't know, 6, 7 years ago, and it just fits right there above the walkboard on the paver, and a couple different even paver models we've used. It's a perfect fit for right up there, man. We strap it in and load it up. That one requires a little more, we got to replace the ice a little more off of that one because it's catching all the heat from the screed and the pavement. But yeah, man, we keep that stuff handy. And look, I mean, it's a hydration is, like I said earlier, it's a proactive game. Like, it's being mindful to rehydrate after the day, and not just with Miller Lite or your beverage of choice. Get some water in you, and be smart about this, because it's typically those that fail to rehydrate properly in the evening when we're going through a hot stretch are the ones that are dying the next day. And it takes the weather this year, it turned quick. It went from cool and nice mid 70s spring weather to 95, and we caught a lot of rain in April, even into early May. So it's almost tropical around here. I mean, the humidity's with it too, and it's uh we usually get a 2, 3 week period where we kind of get to break in with the heat and kind of get used to it. And sometimes it comes out of nowhere, and the guys that aren't ready for it, or aren't hydrated, or aren't in great shape, it takes a toll, man. And you got to have some patience with that, and you got to be aware of that. If you're a foreman out there or a leader, you got to check on these guys and gals to make sure that everybody's with it, because it happens quick. I've seen people go down, and 2 minutes prior they were raking a joint or throwing shovels of mix, and everything seemed fine, and now they're under the tree laying down, and they've stopped sweating, and it's like, oh shit, let's let you get cooled off, man. So
Absolutely. Those signs can set on quick. And
yep.
yeah, I guess we can just kind of go over those now. I mean, I believe surely majority of people in this industry, you just unfortunately haven't been around long enough if you haven't seen these signs, because it happens. But you'll see people getting dizzy, kind of a lack of or start sweating, a lack of orientation.
Yep.
It's really and it can definitely be scary. I've been in that position too. Luckily, I don't I don't remember ever fainting or anything from it. But in Kentucky, growing up, I mean, and especially when turf, astroturf and stuff like that was
Yeah.
in some fields and stuff like that growing up, and just standing on those fields and just getting completely dizzy and just losing my balance and everything. And
Yeah,
do
man.
you all use those neckties or anything else to kind of keep you cool, or anything in the process that might keep you cool?
Those neckties are a lifesaver, man.
Yeah,
Those snap towels. So we'll keep those in the cooler with the melting ice. I mean, those things are nice and cold. Um, those work. I tell you what, it, people have said I'm crazy, but you see it, and look, you see it a lot down in the southern regions of down in Central America and South America. You see these workers, and then you see the migrant workers that have come up to the States, and that are doing landscaping, or on paving crews or whatever kind of outdoor construction. You always see them. You're like, my God, it's 100 degrees outside, but they're in long sleeves, they're in long pants, everything's covered. They've got the SA Fishing Company straw hat on.
that's right.
Uh, and when I went, and I was like, my God, it's so hot. Why are you wearing all of these clothes? But I went to that about, I don't know, probably 4 or 5, maybe 6 years ago. I went to the long breathable long sleeve shirts, long breathable pants. The going to the straw hat that covers your neck and a good portion of your upper body was a game changer. It's like, my God, I'm wearing all these clothes. It's 100 degrees, but I feel 20 degrees cooler.
Hmm.
And it's because it's keeping the sun off of you.
Yeah.
I mean, and no amount of sunscreen you can put on is going to be the same as having a light article of clothing covering your skin, covering your face, covering your neck. The straw, I mean, the straw hat's a game changer. I mean, I know they look goofy sometimes or whatever, but don't knock that thing until you try it. I mean, it's a big difference. It's probably made the biggest difference out
Hmm.
there for me.
And so, if people are looking, it's another marketing opportunity. Just keeping
That's right. It's
just keeping
yeah.
that thought going. Um, I've also I come to I look at some of these people who have been in the industry for years, and especially some of the veterans whose ears look like Evander Holyfield's after the Tyson fight or something. It's just had so much sun, and they've had so much skin grafted off and everything like that. And it's just such a shame because it leads to cancer. And it's
Yeah.
I'm turning 40 this year, and I was never like against. I was too manly to put on sunscreen, but I was, come on, there are good times on the beach. There's just plenty of times. It felt like once or twice a year, especially with some Irish descent, I would just get absolutely purple and
Yeah.
torched. But yeah, you see guys out there that just aren't taking it seriously. Have do you? I know you stress, wearing sunscreen on site and other skin protective measures like those shirts. But what are some of your experience with people who either kind of refuse to listen or just don't want to deal with that? And what are some maybe tips for just trying to keep people healthy as far as the actual sunscreen and stuff like that goes?
Yeah. I mean, and look, and that's a big part of why I went to the longer clothing too, and the hat because I was guilty. Like I was like, I'm not wearing sunscreen. Like I'll deal with it when I'm 70. And it's
Yeah.
like that, that's what a dumb mentality because I've seen, I've seen, and I personally know several people in this industry that have gotten into their 50s, 60s, 70s that are dealing with exactly what you said. They got these spots all over and they end up being cancer and they're having to get stuff cut off all over their body.
Yeah.
And that's if they're lucky. That's if the
Yeah.
cancer doesn't get any worse than that. So, it's yeah, we emphasize that stuff for sure. And wherever you can't get stuff covered, I mean, I would absolutely recommend wearing sunscreen. My partner gets on me all the time. She's like, I came home and it was earlier in the season when it got hot overnight and I just wasn't thinking about it. She's like, you dumbass, your neck is purple, dude. Like, put on the sunscreen. And I was like, okay, I'll get a hat. So so now
Yeah.
I still hit the neck. I hit, my hands, like top of my hands, which I'm 43 and they're wrinkled like I don't know, a 50, 60-year-old man already. And a lot of that's just from the sun, man. And
Yeah.
uh, we, we don't get another set of skin in this life. So, I mean, it's, take care of what you got. Uh,
Yeah. Yeah,
for sure.
absolutely. I think the first time I had heard something to that effect of uh that I actually listened. I'm sure my parents told me a million times. But
Oh
I
yeah.
was listening to something in my early 20s from Warren Buffett, and uh, he came into a classroom of high school students and said, "What if I came in here and told everyone that they were going to get a free car, and you could choose any car of your choice?" And of course, they all like got up on their edge of their seats, and then he said, "Well, I'm not going to do that." But what if you only had one car for the rest of your life? And then they thought about that, and he's like, "You need to treat your body like that because you won't get another chance at this." And
Yeah.
obviously we're getting deep here, but it's again just that opportunity, and
Oh man, it's true.
with age, maybe just some of that becomes more apparent. So have you thought about for younger people? I mean, is it just for some of these guys, just they got to learn on their own? Is that the only way around it, getting burned literally?
I think so. And I'll tell you, I'll tell you probably where I've seen it the most. And I've had guys uh, that have literally had to take a day or two off of work because they got so burnt up. And it's on the seal coating side,
Mm,
which especially, we use coal tar here in Kentucky mostly. there's been some more eco-friendly products come out in the last several years. Some states have even banned the use of coal tar, but
Hmm.
quite frankly, in my opinion, there's nothing better that's longer lasting, that's a better product to seal pavement with than coal tar, and it puts off on its own. Just some chemical in the air that it puts off, especially if you're out there spraying it. Just the mist of that stuff can get on your skin, in your pores,
Oh
and
yeah, man, I didn't
especially
even
on a
think
hot
about
day. I
that.
mean, it's
Yeah.
blistered guys, and it's
Mm.
like if they just had a long sleeve shirt on and long pants on. And when I spray seal coat, and you've seen this for at least the last 5, 6, 7 years. Probably about the same time I went to the straw hat, I started wearing those face masks. So I've got everything covered on my body, gloves, everything basically except my eyeballs. So I got that mask up here over my ears, on the back of my head, hat on, full sleeves, full pants. Everything's covered. So I'm not only keeping the sun off me, I'm keeping any of the chemicals off of me. And it's no different than you're on a paving crew, because most guys are you still using diesel as a release agent. And those fumes are getting there and getting your pores. And you mix sun with the stuff we use in this industry, and it's a combination for some. It accelerates the burning. I'll just say that. And I've had guys that simply could not work for a couple days because they got so burnt, and it wasn't just from the sun, but it was also a mixture of the things that we unfortunately use out there doing what we do, that accelerated, what it did to their skin. So
Absolutely.
it's uh it's no joke, man.
Yeah, yeah. Yet another reason why it's one of the top industries for maintaining people on site and maintaining
Yeah,
employees. Yeah, another example I was sitting here thinking of was obviously a lot of the older skid steers, they're not going to have any kind of fan or anything on the inside. And
right.
I
Yeah,
remember a couple of years ago when the AC went out in one, I mean, the guy had to take a break every 10 minutes per every hour. And,
yeah, man.
just because there was no way to really get any respite from it, and especially as you said on those large parking lots where there's no shade anywhere. Get on these large commercial properties.
Yeah, and you get in an essentially enclosed unit like a skid steer or something with a cab on it that doesn't have, AC. And you're not even getting the breeze really. I mean, that's, at least on a paver, if you at least catching some kind of breeze most of the, at least it's during some points of the day, and you get in those machines that aren't heated or cooled and without a cab on them, and I mean it can get brutal.
Absolutely, man. You just sit in that skid, and then even as you finish that parking lot, and there's not gravel there anymore. It's asphalt, so it's going to be radiating even more. And you're just sitting
Yeah,
out looking at those waves and just being like,
yeah,
yeah, go ahead and get yourself a water. Take
yeah.
a second.
Thanks, Tim.
And if your foreman says no, well, tell him to watch the last episode.
Yeah,
But yeah, something I didn't want to skip over here, I thought was pretty useful, was that even wearing at least SPF 15 every
yeah.
2 hours blocks 93% of the sun rays. So I didn't know that. I thought that was interesting. Um, but one other thing about protection and the elements that we did have for this episode was bug and tick protection. And
Yeah,
again, we grew up in an area, as you said, it can storm hard all spring. Looks beautiful, all kinds of crazy bugs. And
crazy bugs.
in the South, it's no different. And even everywhere in the country has their own thing. But yeah, those
Yeah,
those bugs can get crazy out there. I know we've had. I mean, go ahead and share any kind of story. The one story that comes to mind is just trying to get a giant beehive um,
yeah,
out of a parking lot area that we were paving one time. But can you kind of speak to just the bug aspect of things and checking
that was
yourself and
nuts.
whatever all that includes?
Yeah, and again, I mean, it if you got the right kind of clothing on, those bugs don't really have a chance of getting to you. And I've lived in Kentucky all my life, and ticks are something we deal with here in Kentucky. And I'll tell you, this year I've never seen them as bad as they are this year. I mean, I was sitting out back yesterday, and there's woods all around, kind of our property, but where the pool is, it's, I mean, obviously cleared, and there's a pool deck, and there's nothing really. And I look down, there's a tick on me. I'm like, where? I mean, where could that thing have possibly even just come from? You
Yeah.
know, So, those things. We've got four animals that are kind of indoor, outdoor. I've seen more on them this year than I've ever seen in my 43 years living in Kentucky. So I mean, that's no joke. And those beehives, the beehive you're referring to, that was crazy, man.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
just never know. I mean, look, nature's going to live where it wants to live, and you're going to run into that stuff sometimes. So
Yep. Yep.
be
Yep.
careful.
Yeah.
Pack of fly swatter. I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. Um, it's always such an interesting group of guys on an asphalt paving crew. It can
Yeah.
be, those can be some of the relief breaks when it comes to that stuff. But obviously, like again, safety is the thing that matters there. And yeah,
Somebody on the crew usually has a solution.
yeah,
Whatever you run into on a given day, like
maybe
somebody's.
maybe that's what I'm talking about. Is the four
Yeah.
or five guys stand around and be like, we literally can't go until we solve this problem, and
Yep.
then coming together for that. And that's where honestly I really started to enjoy the whole construction industry because using big tools. I mean, to solve
Yeah.
problems, you know what I mean? And it
Yeah.
just like
Yeah.
it's I don't know, it's just such an interesting, cool thing to
It's
me,
neat,
just
man.
how you can use this machinery and some ingenuity and some hard work and put out a product that people need, people care about. Um,
Yeah.
so yeah, man, it's good as long as everyone can stay safe out there.
Yeah. I mean, and you're right, man. Like this industry, the construction industry is as a whole, is a broad spectrum. I mean, we're builders, we're fixers, we're creators. Like we're probably some of the most creative folks, and we work with our hands all day. So it's like something needs to get done. I mean, between the 7 or 8 of us that are out there, like we'll figure it out. And
Yeah.
that's always, and I tell you, man, that goes back to a big part of why I love what we do so much is because uh, if you've got the right kind of team, you figure it out. Hard stuff's going to happen, heat's going to happen. I mean, variables are going to happen, and we're like you said, the ingenuity is out there. And it's cool to watch sometimes. Like like we had a chain break on the paver the other day that typically the machine needs to go into the dealer, into the technician's bay at their shop where they've got all the big, air tools and welders, like all this, the lifts to get this machine in the perfect position it needs to be in to be able to replace this chain that's tucked up in the paver that I don't know how human hands can get to it. The design's a little, and we fixed it on site within a matter of an hour and a half. And it's like, it just blows my mind. I'm like, I don't know how we figured it out, but we figured it out. And we had some screwdrivers and a couple wrenches and guys, covered up to their shoulders in grease. Like, it's like awesome. We're back
Yes,
in
sir.
business. You know
Yes,
what I
sir.
mean?
Yeah, I mean, the little victories that honestly can
That's
just
fun.
lead to a big moral boost because, uh, like I remember on one large driveway, there was the track had come off of the skid, and like we just thought there was no possible way, or not the paver, and
Yeah.
we
Yeah.
got someone got the skid in there and got it on the right angle of the hill and came in there, and I mean, what saved a day and a half of work, if not more, depending
Yeah.
on like
Potentially,
what
yeah.
your setup is at the shop and what machinery you
Absolutely.
have, what repair shop you're going to if they have availability. Um, so yeah,
Absolutely,
pretty
man.
sweet, man. Pretty
It's
sweet.
that whatever it takes mentality that can really make or break a company, man.
Absolutely. So just real quick, let's get some drinks on site. I did actually, as far as the drinks go, do you have a policy or anything as far as like your employees have to bring X on site, or do you just go ahead and fill the cooler up, or is it only on days above 90? How does that kind of work for you and your company?
We fill it up every day, man.
Hmm.
It's something I don't know. A while back in my career, it's like and if I'm being 100% transparent, it started out of let's figure out how to stop these gas station stops in the
Yeah.
morning. But
Yeah.
but the more research I did and diving into safety and culture and like providing that stuff for our team has been a moral boost. I mean, because we go to Costco and we buy pallets of the stuff. So they know every day, all day, the drinks are on us, and and that's cool. It saves them. I don't know. I mean, a Gatorade's almost $3 anymore. So, I
Absolutely.
mean, we're saving these guys probably 10, $20 a day on stuff they would have to get at the store to drink, and we're providing it for them, and you know, it helps on a lot of different levels.
Absolutely. Yeah, I remember when we first started, I forget why what the delay was. I don't know if we were waiting on trucks or something, but you finally got all the materials you needed to push down a pull on a parking lot, and you were looking for one of the shovel guys, and so, you just asked, "Where is he?" And someone else said he just went to the gas station, and your face and look of just pure exhaustion was just defeating. I felt so bad for you. But that was actually one point where you told me, don't pitch in today. Like, and I took that for a while. I should have pitched in a lot earlier. But you'd said let the guys get it today. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I don't want you stepping in just because, they had to pick up the pace somewhere. So, um, yeah, yeah, it can. I know, and
Some
especially.
lessons just have to be learned, man.
And some people can take quite a long time going to that gas station right down the corner for some
Yeah.
reason. So that's always an issue too. All right, so back on
Hey,
topic.
you can't dude, everybody's got the, oh, I had to drop a 30-minute deuce excuse. And then what do you say? What do you say? Like, bull,
Take a
but
pit.
you
No.
could be gone for 45 minutes, and I really, unless I want to be an asshole, like, okay.
Yeah, yeah. All right.
Okay,
Well,
well, let's get back after it now.
it seems like you've got this daily routine around this time. Can we shift
Yeah.
that routine? Can we have
Yeah.
the coffee a few hours earlier or something
Yeah.
like that?
Can we handle this
Um,
before work?
yeah, yeah, yeah. That gets easier as we
Like
get
two
older.
2 o'clock every day. That's a weird time, man.
Yeah, absolutely. Right in the heat there. Um, all right, so we got stay hydrated, drink the water in advance. Definitely helps.
In
If you
advance
didn't do
and
it before
during.
the night, if you're getting cramps in the morning, just start drinking it. I'm assuming we'd much rather have some open doors on trucks rather than not peeing at all during the day because you're dehydrated.
Absolutely.
Then the sunscreen, at least SPF 15. Wear that long clothing. Wear the SA hats. SA, reach out to us.
That's
And then just
yeah.
also look for it. If you have some people that are maybe a little bit reluctant, or you start to notice some dizziness or anything like that, heat stroke can get really bad and it can affect your brain permanently. So
Yeah.
get out of the heat, get cool, get a drink, get something that's actually water, Gatorade, something with electrolytes, something like that. And yeah, make sure to tell your team this stuff. I know it can get a little monotonous, boring, and not exactly a fun conversation to have with the team in the morning. But if nothing else, you're arming your team with some information, and you can at
Yeah.
least try to ask them to put some of the responsibility on themselves.
Yeah. And look, I know this is a macho industry, but like if you're out there going through it and if you're dizzy or you're feeling exhaustion or you
Mm,
stops, like, what if you start personally seeing or feeling some of these signs, like, speak up, like,
yeah.
let somebody know before you face plant in a pile of 350-degree asphalt,
Yeah, around tons of equipment. This
yeah, I
equipment is
mean,
huge on a job site. Yeah.
it can get dangerous quick. And here's too, I mean, it's one thing for a crew or a foreman or leader, whatever, to remove the guy or gal from the operations and get them into a cool area, get them some drinks on them, get some wet towels on them, whatever. But like, if in your gut that's still not helping, I mean, call the paramedics. I mean, it's because it can be life or death, and that stroke can change someone's life for the rest of their life, and it's not something to procrastinate with. Either on you personally as the one that's feeling it, or when it gets, oh God, this person's having an episode, you got to get into reactive mode pretty quick there
Yeah.
and make a decision. Are they okay? Are they cooling off, or do we need to take other measures and get some professional help involved?
Yep. And as the leader, you know, we talk about it all the time. You work for the other people. if you're the leader on site, chances are you're going to have a lot of things going through your brain, a few more things than more the task based guys
Yeah.
working on the crew. So I mean, it goes for you as well. If you need to tell someone like, hey, I'm stepping away for a second, or hey, I got a little bit dizzy a while ago. Will you just, check on me, a few times over this next hour or something like, um, you're every bit as important as anyone else and every bit as susceptible, if not more, with how busy you can get and how hard it can be to remember to hydrate.
I mean, I've had to check out a few times. Like, there's no shame in it. Like,
Yeah,
it's not a. It's like, hey, I need to go take 10 minutes and cool down and see how I feel. Yeah,
absolutely. And give yourself that extra minute if you need to.
yeah,
You're not visiting the gas station here on a bathroom break. You're actually trying to recover so you can focus and keep everyone on site safe. So,
yeah.
Kevin, is pertaining especially to the summer heat or anything else, is there anything we didn't cover today that you can think of that we should talk about real quick?
I don't think so. I mean, find those moments in the day uh, that you can take, especially when it's super hot. I mean, find some time to take breaks. I mean, I know we get in this paving and production inefficiency mentality, and I'm raising my hand because I'm probably as guilty as anyone that's
Sure.
about moving the ball down the court and pushing the needle as far as possible. But even those 5 to 10 minute stops can help.
Yeah.
A lot of the times we as leaders don't like to take those stops because sometimes it's hard to get people re-engaged and get the momentum rolling again. So, be mindful of when you're taking those stops. If you're waiting on trucks or if you've got a situation or an area of the lot where it may make sense to let maybe your roller operators catch up, just let everybody take a few minutes. And taking 3, 5, 10 minutes a couple times a day is nothing compared to somebody getting seriously sick out there. It's not
Yeah.
worth it.
Yeah. I think when you talk to I've just heard the advice a lot that, focus is the number one priority, for a business to have in order to be successful. And yes, production is closely linked to that, making sure
Yeah,
that things are on pace. But I mean, we are also literally talking about the ability to focus, to clear your mind, to get your heart rate somewhere where it is, to get your internal body temperature at a point where your guys can actually function to the best of their ability. So yeah, it's hard to get up after sitting down in a hard industry, but I think if you ask those guys afterwards, they'll still will have taken that break after they get going. So,
yeah.
yeah, great one, Kev. I definitely appreciate all the wisdom, my friend.
You're welcome, brother.
Absolutely.
Watermelon is another good one.
Hey,
With super hot days, we used to pack, and I'm sure we are in the near future. It's getting hot. Watermelon for everybody, oranges. Kind of like, man, back in the day when you're on a youth soccer team or something, and somebody's mom was responsible for bringing the orange slices for halftime. Man. You know,
absolutely,
that
absolutely.
stuff.
Maybe you can get a
It
snack
works.
program going
Yeah,
in
there you
in the hydration snack program.
go.
No, but that's great. I remember the watermelon thing, and absolutely, if you have something regionally, I was also thinking about the drinks that might be in our cooler that might not be in other people's. You'd
Yeah,
mentioned like Big Red in the South, and I wasn't even
yeah.
sure where all that is, but we also have the Ale 8, a late one, Ale 8
L8
cola
ones.
that especially some Kentucky guys. It's a ginger ale that's from Winchester, Kentucky. So if you all have any special drinks that either, especially those that hydrate, that you want to
Yeah,
suggest to us or anything like that, or that you have in your cooler, please let us know.
yeah. Absolutely. That's cool, man.
All right. Well, if you want to keep this party going, the summer style, catch up with us at Pave It Forward LLC, also at Pave It Forward. We have paveitforwardllc.com. That is evolving. As you'll notice, we have a brand new setup on our website now. So you can come back and we will be hosting all of the websites there. We'll have all the corresponding information there as well. So it'll kind of be a new hub going forward. We're going to be working on backdating, filling in those old pages with episodes that we've recorded in the past. So continue to check in. You'll also have the abilities to subscribe there. So go ahead and subscribe if you don't want to bookmark that URL. So for now, that does it. And we will catch everyone on the next episode. Unless, Kevin, do you have any last thoughts for the people?
The only thing I gotta say is if people want to keep this party going, tank top only. So
That's right. That's right. Yeah, yeah. We almost had a tank themed episode going there. Best tanks, you've used in your career and all
we'll
that
do that
stuff.
next weekend.
All the machinery that was a tank, that really held up for you. What are your brands are
Yeah,
you loyal to?
yeah, yeah.
Maybe
We
a
should
good
do
one.
that. Maybe.
Let's do it. Let's do it.
I got more tank tops in the closets.
Yeah, yeah. It's one of the things I liked about Colorado, a little bit of a casual nature. I'm trying to introduce this into business, but I think tank tops might be a little early, except for here on the podcast on Sundays. So if anyone else wants to keep the party going, full business shirts and everything, there's other episodes. Otherwise, join us for the future episodes of the Pave It Forward podcast. We appreciate you, and we'll talk to you soon.